Hello and welcome to Introduction to Statistics, Math 141, Section 92 for summer 2015. My name is Matt Lathrop. I'll be your instructor this semester. And before we dive into any content, I just want to provide you with a brief orientation of how the course works and talk a little bit about the syllabus and the expectations for the course. The page we're looking at now is the page that you'll see when you log into the course. Obviously, this starts off with course announcements, which is something that you'll want to check frequently to see if any new information is being posted. You can view any past announcements, click more to see the rest of this posted announcement. Also off to the right here on this first page, this announcements page, you're also going to be provided with kind of a snapshot of where you stand in the course right now, with information on your overall score, which will start to populate once you complete some assignments. Course timeline, which will again just kind of give you a different way of depicting what your overall score is in the course, and then breakdowns individually on homework, quizzes, tests, and discussion scores. So every time you log in, you can just quickly check where you are. If you're happy with that score, great. If not, either start thinking about what you can do to make some improvements or contact me and I'll see what help I can offer. There's also the Start Here page, which is the page where you found this video. You're going to want to make sure you watch through the different orientation videos that are posted on this page, just to again learn a little bit more about how the course works. There's also a campus safety video, but all things you want to take a look at before you dive into the Module 1 assignments. Right now we want to talk specifically about the information in the syllabus, just to again get the expectations for the course across. What you'll see here is my contact information. I do have office hours Wednesdays from noon to 1. This being an online class and during the summer, my guess is the best way for folks to get in touch with me is going to be to email me. I will make a point of checking that email frequently, do my best to get back to you within 24 hours, but something to keep in mind is just that on weekends that might take a little longer to get back to me. But email is probably going to be the best way to get a hold of me, but I do have some standing office hours if you want to come in and chat face-to-face. There's information on the catalog description for the course, relationship to academic development, program transferability, learning outcomes. I'm going to leave most of that for you to look at, but I'm just going to hit some of the highlights here in the syllabus. The first is about required materials. The only thing that you need to purchase for this course is an online access code for MyLabs Plus. Once you have that access code, you're going to be able to access homework, complete all the assignments. You'll also need access to StatCrunch, which is included as part of that access code. So StatCrunch is going to be some software, online software that we'll use throughout the semester. Optionally, you could also purchase a physical copy of the textbook. There's no need for that. It's just a preference if you would prefer to have a physical text to read versus reading things on a computer screen. But the access code and textbook should be available separately so that you can choose which things you do and don't want to purchase. There's no specific need for a calculator for this course, but you are welcome to use a graphing calculator, scientific calculator, basic calculator, as you see fit. Scrolling down, we can talk a little bit about just the overall outline for the course. So we're going to start off by talking about graphing data, then we're going to get into numerical summaries of data, so talking about things like mean, median, mode, which possibly are familiar with some previous courses. We'll get into probability, but then pretty quickly we'll get into confidence intervals and hypothesis testing, which will really be the main focus of this course, inferential statistics. That's a little ways down the road, so we don't need to worry about that yet, but those are going to be our main topics throughout the semester. This is going to be a very technology-intensive course. Obviously, since it's an online course, you're accessing the homework system online. In addition to that, tests will be completed online. As a part of that, you need to be aware that technology has outages, whether it's on MyLabs Plus, this course shell being down, or just your personal internet connection, your personal computer failing. One thing you need to do is to make sure that you have a backup plan in mind in case you do lose internet access at home or your home computer stops working. Have a plan to head to the library, head to a friend's house, come into Heartland's campus, but have some backup plan to work on things, as malfunctioning technology may not be an acceptable excuse for late submissions. We won't be meeting face to face, but we will be tracking your attendance and participation in this course by your participation in discussions. Every module is going to have a discussion, which will require 2 posts. So your participation in the class will be measured by completing those posts. Those posts are also going to serve the purpose of preparing you for one half of our exams, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So the discussions are going to be a critical part of the course to prepare you for the class, to prepare you for exams, and also just to measure and track that you are participating. A withdrawal at midterm is a possibility if you're not participating in those discussions. So you would be withdrawn at midterm if you failed to participate in the course for an entire week without notifying me, if you fail to participate in more than 2 of those module discussions, or if by midterm you haven't completed at least 60% of assignments. So hopefully that won't be the case, but there are some circumstances where you could be withdrawn at midterm if you're not actively participating in the course week to week. Homework and quizzes will be completed at home or wherever you're accessing the course through MyLabs Plus. All homework questions can be worked as many times as you need to get the correct score. You can submit homework assignments after the due date, but a 10% penalty will be applied. But what that means is you should be able to get at least a 90%, if not better, on every single homework assignment. For quizzes, you only receive 1 attempt at each quiz, but there will be a practice quiz that you can take over and over again in preparation. You initially receive 1 attempt, but if you get, excuse me, at least a 95% on all your homework assignments for that module, you will open up a second attempt at that quiz. So it's some incentive and encouragement to make sure you're doing well on those homework assignments, and also a second chance to make up for some misunderstanding or some small mistake on that first attempt at the quiz, giving you another shot to take it again. Quizzes have to be completed by the due date. If not, you'll receive a 0 for that quiz. In terms of the regular exams for the course, these are going to be 2-part in nature. The first part will be a proctored portion, so you'll actually need to come to Heartland's campus, and you'll take a test that's very similar to the homework and quiz questions you've seen. There will be a practice test available for you to prepare and practice ahead of time, but that's going to be a very traditional test. The second part will be a take-home essay-based test. So this part you'll be able to complete at home from wherever you're accessing the course. You don't have to be on Heartland's campus. But what we'll be doing is completing written essay-based interpretations of statistical results. Again, the discussions are going to be designed to help prepare you for the expectations of those tests. A written-based test is kind of not a very typical thing for a math course. So we're going to try to make sure we get you prepared for those tests to make sure you're providing the information that you need. There will also be a final exam, which will be a cumulative final and will be similar to those proctored tests. You'll have to take it on campus. It will reflect the homework and quiz questions you've seen. It is required to receive a passing grade in the course, so you do have to take the final exam regardless of your grade towards the end of the semester. I am going to give you the option to improve some low exam scores throughout the course of the semester. There's going to be an optional 5th take-home exam, which will give you the opportunity to replace a low take-home exam. So if one of those written exams doesn't go well, there'll be the opportunity to make up for that with an additional exam at the end of the semester. And also your percentage on the final exam can be used to replace a low exam score. So while the final exam counts towards your grade on its own, it can also be used to boost one of your other exam grades if you had another exam that didn't go as well. We've got the grading structure for the course, which I'll kind of highlight here. We've got 10% of your grade awarded for discussions, homework, and quizzes. The reason being is that I want you to feel like each of those assignments for each module are important and worth your time. So I want to weight your grade to reflect that. So basically 30% of your grade can be earned just by participating in discussions, completing the homework assignments, and completing quizzes. The remainder of that coming from the exams, but that 30% obviously could make a huge difference, could bump you up multiple letter grades just by having solid grades on those 3 sets of assignments. We've also got the release dates for each of the exams provided. Some important dates to keep in mind: final data drop with refund, a day that the college is going to be closed, which won't really affect us since we're an online class, but just something to be aware of. And the last day to withdraw. The FERPA statement is something that I always mention, basically just stating that if you contact me via email, that needs to either be sent through the course website. There will be some links in the homework assignments and things to help you out with that. Or you need to email me from your Heartland email address. Basically, I need to be able to verify that I'm communicating with you and not sharing information about your progress in this course with someone else. So I need to see that information is either coming through the course website or coming from your Heartland email account. We've also got a proposed weekly schedule for the summer, which we should be able to stick to quite closely. What you are going to see is that in each week, we're going to be covering a significant amount of material. So what we're doing is taking a 16-week semester and reducing it down to 8 weeks. So work that would normally be spread out over 2 weeks is condensed to 1 week. So in our first week, you're going to be completing assignments from both Module 1 and Module 2, which is going to include a homework assignment for each module subsection, a quiz over each module, and then a discussion post for each of those modules. So that's quite a bit of work to keep track of, but you'll be able to see these links on the left for Module 1 and Module 2, explaining what those different assignments are for the module, as well as listing the due dates. And that pattern is going to keep up, every week having basically 2 kind of sets of assignments. You'll see in week 2 we already get into our first exam. So for the first part of the course, we're going to follow a standard pattern of covering 2 modules and then taking an exam over that content. Covering 2 modules and then taking an exam over that content. Since we're doing this in accelerated format, that means those exams are going to be coming pretty regularly, pretty quickly. But then once we get into hypothesis testing a little bit later on, we'll break that up a little bit, covering 3 modules. So some of the later tests will cover a little bit more material. But early on in the course, we're going to follow that standard pace. Complete 2 modules, take that 2-part test. But be aware of the material that we're covering. All assignments will always be due on the Monday of the following week at 11:59 p.m. So for this first week, you're going to be trying to complete everything for Module 1 and Module 2 by June 8th at 11:59 p.m. So at the very end of the day on Monday. The last section of the syllabus just has some general information for you to be aware of. Has some good information, for instance, information about tutoring services. If you are having trouble in the class, I would highly recommend the tutors at Heartland. I always hear they do a great job. Open computing lab in the library, so if you do need an alternate location to get some work done, that's a great one to consider, as well as some other information about academic integrity, plagiarism, other just general information about the college. So we did a brief overview of the syllabus. I'd very much encourage you to read through all of that information on your own. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope that we're going to have a great semester, and just feel free to keep in touch with me as you have questions or need any help with anything throughout the semester.